Alright guys, now we're over here at the drill press, and we're going to start off with part 2 of the Bison stereo unit build. And what I've done was took and drawn me some marks here, some crosses in between those where I'm going to put center of each one of those. And we're just going to try to do it without center drilling it, just tapping it. So we'll go ahead and get started on drilling this out, and you guys enjoy the music. And there we have vent holes, and I think that would be enough. I don't want my speaker sound to change either. So now we're going to take and bring you over to the bench. Alright, now we're over here at the bench, and now we get to take and deburr that. So we just take our trusty little, and I'm starting to like that thing real good. There we have it. Switch will go there. Fuse holder will go here. And we got our vent holes. And I'm wondering if I shouldn't go 2 more. Probably better not chance it, because I believe if I go 1 more I'll be into the wood. We'll see. And then the radio will go here. So we're trying to figure out how the best way to cut these 2 out. We have 3 choices. We can drill a hole in the corner of each one of them, use the scroll saw. The reason I don't want to use the scroll saw is because it's just too violent on aluminum, and you know, it's just too violent. So then we have the option of using a jigsaw, and using a metal blade, and we just have to keep it oiled or lubricated and saw slowly. Or we can try to do this in the mill. The only problem, and now that would do a better job. It would have a nice clean straight edge. Everything would be perfect, except for the corners. I'd have to cut them out jigsaw, or a file or whatever. But I have to be able to glue this down or stick this down onto something so that when I get through the piece with the milling bit, this doesn't shift and grab the bit and sling it out of the way. So I need to figure out a way to hold this down where these won't move. So what we can do is drill these holes out, since we already know where those holes are going to be for the almost forgot that I turned the camera on. Drill them out, get them countersunk. You don't even have to countersink them at this moment. And then take and drill in the center of one of these, and for that fact, we could probably just take and put one in the center here on 4 of these, and that'll hold this piece. These 4 will hold that piece, and then I can just put a washer on this and use another screw to screw all of it down flat. So that way it won't move, and then I can just take a 1/8 inch or maybe bigger bit in the milling machine and go ahead and mill this out, because it's all straight, so you can just use your X and your Y, and as long as you got it square, it should do just fine. So that's what we're going to do. We're getting ready to drill these out, and 2 or 4 holes here. And the reason I want to drill these in the center of this is because if there's enough of this left, that's why I wanted to use a small bit, like maybe a 1/8 inch or maybe just a hair bigger. That way this will mill this out, and when I'm done milling it, this will be a vent that I could use for something else in the future. So I'm thinking ahead and making a vent at the same time I'm taking out material in this, and the same thing with this. I can do this and make a round vent, and this would be a long vent. So those would just be 2 vents for a future project. Never know, might need it. Then you just drill your hole in each corner, and you got your mounting where you can mount it up to something. So I don't know what we're going to do here. We're going to have to probably do it with a jigsaw, because I have no hole saw that big. So I may have to use the jigsaw on that. But I'm going to try to use the mill on this so I can get a nice perfect edge. And we'll see you at the mill. Alright guys, we're over here at the mill, and we've got this thing strapped down. Got a clamp on this side. Of course I got to tighten up the vise, shouldn't I? That would help a little bit. Good thing I did that. I just strapped it to a piece of 2x4 that had a piece of plywood mounted on top, which is what I use in my drill press, and it's wood. And I just clamped down the edge of it to where it was even with this side and even on the back side, and that's pretty much, it's going to be straight. So I've got a I think it's a 5/16 let's see here, yeah, I think it's 5/16 milling bit, 4 flute, and it's one of them old cheap ones I bought a long time ago for $9.99. And we're going to do a plunge on this, and I've got this piece cut or screwed down also, so that way it's not going to move. It'll all stay together. This will stay after it's separated. And let's go ahead and get started milling it. think that should do it. But before we move our bit, we're going to do some checking. We're going to check the radio and make sure that this is the right width while we've got it mounted in there. If we need to trim, then we need to trim. So we don't want to have to do a whole lot of filing. Alright, we're definitely good that way. I might have went a little too far. Alright, let's see what it is the other way. Yep, we're good that way too. Alright, so now we can take this out of the mill and go over and try our radio out. Alright, now that we've got it over here, let's check. Give me a snack real quick. And there we have it. So now what we can do to keep that from going any further than that where it needs to be, this little lip right here can be bent out a little bit, we hope. And if we can bend that out just a little bit, on both sides, that way when it goes in, it'll be a tight fit, as you can see. So we pull that out compared to that side right there. And it'll have a lip on it to keep it from going any further. Alright, and let's see if my theory is right. But before I do that, I want to take and file these burrs off. That way it makes all these here treads uniform too. Now, let's check and see if our theory is correct, and that will tighten up in the hole for us and keep it from going any further, and it does. So now while that's squeezed up against that, we can take on the other side here and make us a bracket, somewhere along the lines of maybe something like that, and just drill our holes where these two are and make us a screw, or get us a screw that fits this real short. And while this is pushed up against it, we need to make them just a little adjustable so that we can kind of move it in and out if we need to, and that will press against these two little ears to keep it from going any further. But before, I just now realized the problem. Alright, we got this here point on this tread that needs to come off in order to allow this one to go down as far as this one, so the radio's not sitting in there cockeyed. So we need to mill just a little bit of that off, and I'm just going to use a grinder to grind that off. And then we've got another one right here on this side that needs to come off. Other than that, I think we're good. So we'll do that and we'll be back. Alright guys, now we've got this thing ready to go in. So now they're up against the ears. And basically what we're going to do is take this, set it right there just like that. And what I did, since there's different locations to put screws here, little short screws, I went ahead and took advantage of it, and I made these things right here, and these are just the inserts that goes in your computer for when you don't have a card in your on your board. This here uh, covers the hole. So I figured, why not make that to where it squeezes up against that, and I made it adjustable so that if I didn't have enough room to push it forward, I would. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to bend this end and act as a handle so we can actually push it. Just like that. Then we'll take that, put it there, grab a screwdriver, start our first one, and we just use little stubby screws. You don't want to use any long ones or you're going to go into your electronics. They allow you some room, but they don't allow you too much room. So now we've got it just snug. Basically, I'm going to take that and push it forward so it's tight against the two ears on the front. And there it is, tight up against it. Then we'll come over here, do the same thing on this side. Now we're going to take this back apart one more time. But we're just testing what we've got so far. A little more work doing that, but it's better to go on and do it and get it over with. So we just grab that little ear there with a pair of pliers, get straight on it, bend that around to where it's a 90 degree, stick that on there, basically all I did was drill the hole where I thought it would be, and then once I got it drilled, I drilled it exactly the same size as my file. So once I got the hole drilled, then I take my file and work its way in that hole, and then just file a slot in it. Then we push it up there again, tighten it, and your radio's in there. It's not going nowhere. And that's the way it'll be right there. Now this is probably going to be the end of part 2. So I've already spent enough time on this one, and we're going to stop that here. But our next order of business is the fan. This is going to have to be cut out with the jigsaw, and I hate jigsaw aluminum. I'd also like to try to make a beauty ring to go around that to kind of hide that, but I don't know yet what I'll do. It doesn't bother me that it's like that. But that'll end this one, and I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I guess we'll talk at you later.